Hey everybody, we recently took the show on the road and we were in Atlanta for the RenderATL conference and decided to record a few episodes with friends.
Yeah, we had Scott Tolinski, Chance Strickland, Yoav and Emmy from Wix, and Chris Coyier on, just discussing random stuff and having different whiskeys that we enjoy saying the names of, such as Chicken Cock, which you will hear many times. And we went into a lot of hot takes and went into various stuff about their talks that they did at Render and kind of just hung out and enjoyed the experience.
We took a little video there, and that's what you're about to see.
Yeah, this is a mashup of things that will be coming as full episodes shortly. Hope you enjoy what you see and let us know what you think.
Chicken Cock.
Hey everybody, welcome to another Whiskey Web and Whatnot with myself, Robbie the Wagner, and my co-host, as always, Charles William Carpenter the Third.
Third.
We are doing a special live edition here from RenderATL. We're excited about that, and we have our special guest today, Scott Tolinski. What's going on, Scott?
Oh, not too much. Enjoying the conference and walking around and it's a wild one. It's just a lot of stuff going on here.
Yeah, it's crazy. The lunchroom and like sponsor setup is just packed with people.
Packed. Yeah.
For context, I think they said somewhere like 2,500 plus people, attendees, and I don't know if that would include speakers and everyone else too, because there's like 80 speakers, give or take,
something like that.
Yeah.
Like 5 stages and it's wild.
Yeah.
I would say sensory overload for my old eyes. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'm going to go back in this little room and record a podcast.
Yeah. I know. I'm here by myself, so I'm just going to be like, all right.
Yeah. So probably a lot of people have heard of you, but for those who haven't, do you want to give a couple sentences in who you are and what you do?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Scott Tolinski. I am the co-host of the Syntax podcast and the creator of Level Up Tutorials on YouTube and the Level Up Tutorials educational platform that I've been working on for about 10 years now. So, yeah, I've been teaching web stuff since just about I started coding, really.
All right, so today we let Scott pick what our whiskey would be, and he selected the Macallan 12-year. This is a special version of the 12-year that is double cast. So it's finished in the regular used sherry barrels like they do any other Macallan, and then a second finishing in American oak barrels. I couldn't find out if that was used or new or whatever, but they doubled up on it. It's a single malt, so that's the only grain used in the mash bill, and it is 86 proof.
Okay.
So not too bad. It should be a pretty smooth one.
Yeah.
Here, I'm going to
Get the pour sound in there.
Yes. This is kind of our thing.
I love it.
All right. Pass the bottle.
Thank you.
I haven't had to do that very often.
Yeah.
I smell like raspberry jam a little. I don't know. I make these things up every episode, Scott.
That smells scotchy to me.
It's got a light peaty flavor. It's got, again, I'm going to say a jamminess to it. So some sweetness probably from like the sherry casks there. But not a rough finish.
No, pleasant to drink.
Yeah.
What's the level of apricot that you get there, Chuck?
Dried apricot is one of my frequent terms. Yeah, a lot of things seem to have apricot to me. I think apricot is a fruit that has a little taste of like a little mango, a little orange, a little, I don't know. So it's an easy one to kind of dial into.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm having a hard time picking notes out of this one, but probably because I don't have my special glass.
That might be it. I'm the only one with. I have this travel.
I was gonna say, do you travel with that?
This would be the first time, but I bought it for that purpose, like being able to travel with whatever, I don't know, alcoholic looking sample thing. It's nice to have a nice glass. So.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so we usually rate the whiskeys from 1 to 8 tentacles, because we're clever and octopus thing. 1 being disgusting, never give this to me again. 8 obviously being amazing, I'll drink nothing else, and everything in between there. So obviously, like in that sense, 4 is not bad, but in the realm of whiskeys, and I know you said that you haven't had a ton, but you probably have a few things that you like.
Totally.
You know what you like.
Yeah. And it's so funny. I feel like, like the standard like bullet and tin cup, and man, there's like some Colorado ones that you see like very frequently. So
Stranahan's or something like that.
Stranahan's, yeah. We always get like the special edition Stranahan's. That's like the Costco special for us is Stranahan's all day. So yeah. That's usually what I'm drinking.
I like Stranahan. I think they make a good product.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
So where do you think then, compared to your regular drinker is Stranahan's, where would you place this Macallan 12 Double Oak?
Yeah, I would put it an 8. It's better than typically what I'm drinking. Yeah, definitely about an 8. Yeah, I'll drink this all day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Robert?
Yeah, I don't love scotch, so
But for scotches,
for
in the
scotches,
scotch realm.
it's pretty good for me. Maybe a 6 for me.
I don't love lots of scotches, but I have a soft place in my heart for Macallan. Shared it with my father-in-law many times, and he's shared a lot of variations of it. This 12 is very approachable, decently easy to get at most stores, so I like that too. I'm in the 6-7 range because I've had Macallan 15, 18, and a few other ones.
Cool.
And there are some that are just chef's kiss. But this is not far behind. So I'll give it a 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would drink this at any time offered.
I need to step up my game.
I don't know. You are the executive producer at Century, and I have a free whiskey podcast, so I'm not sure you would take career advice from me. on
One
this
of
thing.
those probably pays more money than the
Yeah,
other.
yeah. Don't take life advice from me. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So, your talk is tomorrow, right?
Yes. Yeah. Tomorrow afternoonish.
And it's next generation CSS stuff. Do you want to give us a little preview of kind of stuff you're going to be talking about?
Yeah. So we're going through 4 classifications of different types of wow new features in CSS. And the idea is if you weren't aware of these things, or even if you have a cursory awareness of these things, we're going to be telling you directly, I'm going to be telling you directly, can you ship this or not? Here's a new feature. All right, we have media query ranges. Can you ship it? Yes, you can ship it. It's supported in all major browsers. Here's a new feature custom media queries where you define a media query and its name. Can you ship it? Well, the standard's not there, but the Post CSS plugin is really just a stringer place. So you can easily ship it. I've been shipping it for over a year. So here's how you can ship it. And so it's going to be rapid fire. I'm hitting about 20 or so features in CSS, and then I have a compendium to go along with it that's just links to blog posts to teach you any of these features if you want to actually dive and learn the features, the progressive enhancement aspects of them and stuff like that.
So we might talk a little bit about more of the whatnot side of things.
Yeah, no worries.
So here's a thing I was curious about that I found in your past. And here comes no, just kidding.
Yeah.
So tell us about your time as an accountant.
Yeah, I was fresh out of college, and I had a job in New York ready for me as a video editor and a production assistant for Guitar World magazine. And the job would be to show up and film famous guitarist XYZ at any given day. And I did this as an intern because my uncle was the editor-in-chief, so it was a nepotism job. My uncle was the editor-in-chief, and he got me this internship, and it was awesome. I met all these cool people, and I got to do this great work, and he was like, well, the one guy, the assistant's leaving, and the job's going to be available for you, and you graduate if you want it. And it was a well-paying job, but my wife was getting her doctorate in Michigan. And we weren't married at this point. We were just still dating, and she was like, do not turn down this job for me. I do not want you to turn down this job for me.
I don't want that kind of pressure.
Yeah. So I turned down the job for her and, because I just knew that if I went to New York, that might be the end of our relation. She was willing to do long distance. I just I knew she was the one, and I knew I didn't want to ruin that. So I turned down the job, and my parents were like, if you turn down this job, you better have something ready and waiting for you. I was a music student at the University of Michigan, and a friend of a friend knew the record label owner for Ghostly International, and they were based in Ann Arbor, Michigan. They're a techno label. I didn't know a ton about techno.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
That's what I know.
In fact, I kind of pissed off the owner when I told him that I started playing the records really slowly, and it was like, and he was just like, what are you doing, man? Well, that's not what it's about. I was like, well, it's kind of cool that way.
Yeah.
But I got the job interview, and he was like, well, you're a Michigan student. You can just, show up and be the accountant. So that's what I took the job as, just a holdover so that I would have something to hang my hat on and say I have a job here. I did that for about a year. Working a record label was cool. It's a small label in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and people would just, famous musicians would just walk into the door. I remember, one day I was just, sitting in the office by myself because everybody had gone to lunch, and some, really famous electronic music DJ showed up, and he's like, hey, is Sam here? And I was just like, Yeah, I recognize you.
Yeah.
Like, no, he's not here. But it was a cool experience, and they let me take home one record a week that I worked there. So I got to. I have a huge
nice.
collection of techno records. I'm a huge fan of Ghostly. Yeah,
Yeah, it was an acquired taste, huh?
Acquired taste, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah, I think when you get behind the scenes and probably have a newfound respect for the
when you
production of it.
understand the intricacies of it,
Yeah.
And they were like featured in some techno documentary that was going on, so I got to go to the premiere of that and like learn the whole history of techno and like really get an understanding for it. Yeah,
Interesting. But in the end, I think it all worked out for you.
yeah. Well, it was not a good account. I was basically just paying royalties and making sure artists got paid. I did not do any analysis or like whatever. I don't want to say too much, but one of the artists, Matthew Deere, on the label, had a song in Grand Theft Auto 5 or Grand Theft Auto 4. I think.
Okay.
Whatever
Yes.
the first modern one was. Whenever that check came in, everybody was like, "All right, the bank account's full." But yeah, it was a cool experience.
Yeah, that's an interesting ride. I didn't know you had like so much early experience in music and video production and all that. So this all kind of makes sense. It all kind of comes together.
Yeah, I went to school the program was in the School of Music for Media Arts was the program. And the general philosophy was like, if it's related to music and technology, that's what this is about. So I had to take singing, I had to take dance, but I also took dance production and theater production, and I had to take video. I took a projection installation art class where I did video programming for video. Made like a theremin out of my webcam and stuff like that. So it was like all this mismatch of like tech programming and music, and a lot of the people that came out of that program either now work in tech. A lot of them worked at Google actually, or they went in hard into music. The Wolfpack, there's a famous band, Wolfpack. They were in my program, and my buddy is their engineer, and one of the guys is the guitarist for Jared Leto's band, 30 Seconds to Mars.
30 Seconds to Mars.
Yeah, like people like went on to do, one of the people I graduated with got second place on The Voice. Like people just went to do
wow.
wild stuff in the music, yeah.
Oh, it sounds like a pretty good program. How does that bridge into breakdancing?
It was just something, in high school I saw I would see the first music video I saw for it was the Crystal Method, Name of the Game, and there was a guy with a giant nose breakdancing, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. It was like later that year, I didn't know this at the time, my band was playing at the Warped Tour, and there was a guy doing a demo of breakdancing at the Warped Tour, and that was the same guy from the music video. I had no idea until much later, but he was a part of the Rock City crew, which is like the crew in the 80s that had like really popularized breakdancing, and I was just like, thought it was the coolest stuff, and I met that guy, and he was like, if you want to learn how to dance, you just find who's in your area and start showing up. And I was like, oh, you can do that? Oh, okay. So I was an extreme sports guy. I used to be like a sponsored skater, and for rollerblading, not for like skateboarding.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, much less cool.
Much less cool. And it was like right around at the time where rollerblading was like starting to get not cool. So like I just was like into that kind of like action sports thing, and in breaking, I had no dance experience, so breaking was like really tough for me to transition to. People would like used to like laugh at me when I would say I was going to learn it. Like they're like, yeah, the guy with no rhythm. And it's like, oh, whatever. I'm a drummer. I can, I have rhythm. 20 years later, man, I've been doing competitions all over the U.S. I've danced for NFL and NBA teams. Been in a lot of really bad music videos, and just like countless bad music videos. And I've won a lot of competitions, and got to compete against some of the best nationally, really. I never won anything big time nationally. I'm more of like a regional winner, but
still.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a long time. Still do it once a week now at the studio we practice at. It's called the B-Boy Factory, and they're Olympic level because now we're in the Olympics in 2024.
Wow. That's very cool.
One of the potential Olympic hopefuls is from our studio, so it's
nice. That's cool.
High level people, yeah,
that's really cool. I'm impressed. I wonder, like, as you age, how much more challenging does it get? Though,
it sucks
because you lose some flexibility and stuff, right?
It sucks, yeah.
You're like creaky the next day.
Extremely creaky. I mean, I went from practicing like 8 hours a week to practicing 1.5 hours a week, and that's like all my body can handle. I currently have a torn rotator cuff on this side, so I'm like, I was on one arm, and I was like, oh, I used to do this, and I popped over, and it's just like, ugh. So I'm battling injuries 24/7, and I feel awful all the time, but my
but
dad.
It's fun, you promise.
Yeah, right.
And it's the best use of like there's absolutely nothing like it in terms of endurance or athletic anything. It'll kick your butt. My dad was like he was a gymnast he was, really high level pommel horse gymnast. So it's very like similar to what I was doing. And he was like, you're going to hate yourself when you're my age. And I was just like, whatever. And like, now I'm getting close to 40 and I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, you're like those creaks. Oh, it's a little cold out. My elbows and wrists are hurting.
I spent a long time spinning on my head. I went to get an MRI recently because I had some back issues.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, your back's not great. You got a slip disc, this or that. But your neck looks perfectly fine. So I was like, are you sure? Like, did you get the right MRI? Like, there's no possible
seems
way.
wrong.
Yeah.
But apparently you made it really strong. So.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about meeting rock stars,
Yeah.
Accountant for electronic dance music record label, long time. If you were beatboxing too, that would be pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I wish, yeah.
All right, so what is the most uncool thing that you like to do?
The most uncool thing I like to do, it might be programming, honestly.
Yeah, but in this
Depends who you
audience,
ask,
it's
yeah.
not true. Maybe in the, out in the world.
No,
but-
I like video games. I play a lot of video games. I have a Steam Deck that I play all the time. I guess I don't know if that's considered uncool. I watch reality TV with my wife all the time. So
So is it like 90 Day Fiance and that kind of
no,
stuff?
more like Vanderpump Rules and Bravo kind
Those
of
are
stuff.
equally bad.
Yeah, totally. So I know way too much about like Bravo reality TV. I guess I could be considered uncool in some.
Yeah, I'm going to give you the approval that is very
Okay,
uncool. I've
yeah,
watched
yeah.
some of that with my wife, but I put it on the, nope, if you're not going to watch superhero shows with me,
Oh, yeah,
then I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
watching that with you.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of our separation.
Yeah.
You got to have your separate shows.
Yeah, well, the Steam Deck has allowed me to play video games while she has that on. So now I
yeah,
can
there
like,
you go.
we can hang out and I can play video games and
Yeah,
nice.
I do that too because I started playing the new Zelda recently,
nice.
and so I'm like, I'm doing what I like, you're doing what you like, but we're chilling here, having a glass of wine together. or
we're in the
whatever.
same
Yes.
room. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
a
Yeah,
win.
it counts.
Yeah, it counts.
Anything you want to plug before we end, or
Yeah, I mean, well, one, levelup.video is free. So if you're interested in, one of our most recent, well, we have a lot of Svelte content now because that's really what I'm into a lot. But we have courses on Remix. We have courses on Astro. We have a lot of courses on React. We do 3D in React. We do 3D in Svelte, Vue.js. We have a lot of content on there. So if you're interested in learning stuff, levelup.video is free. Also, the Syntax podcast, syntax.fm, we're going to be putting out live episodes. We're going to be putting out video episodes, doing video training and stuff, and working on a big rewrite of the site right now. So that's also working in public, too. So it's on GitHub if you want to check out what we're working on, what we're talking about.
So, Chance, for those who don't know you and don't know what you do, tell the people a little about yourself and what you got going on.
Sure. Well, so my name is Chance Strickland, and I'm a software engineer. I work for a company, a small startup called Replo, which is a brand new position for me. If anyone already knows me out there, it's probably because I worked on the Remix core team for a while. I started on that project. I think it was employee 1 or 2, very early on with Michael and Ryan building Remix. Before that, I worked with them at React training and doing React workshops for people that needed to learn React, I guess, for a lot of people. Taught a lot of workshops over the years. And I've also worked on some pretty high-profile open source projects, Radix UI in the React ecosystem, and Reach UI, both comparable UI libraries, lower-level accessibility-focused UI libraries. I worked on those for quite some time. So it's interesting to be back in the product world because I've been so far removed from that. It's very different building products for developers than it is for regular people who think about very different problems.
Yeah, it's a whole different mindset to reframe your users from developers who are technically astute and getting into code and APIs versus using an actual product. So that's
and it really shapes how you think about not only think about the code that you write, but how you prioritize your time and spend your time writing that code. One of the challenges I'm learning in making this adjustment is I can no longer sit around and spend like a half a day thinking about like a function API, right? Because my users don't care about that anymore.
Right.
Like my users are not the developers who interface through that function. They just use an application. And so now it's more about shipping the actual app than it is about perfecting the art of the code, so to speak. So yeah, it's an interesting set of challenges, and it's an adjustment to get there.
Okay.
To really like train your brain to not care about things anymore sometimes.
Sometimes, well, different things, right?
Well, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the things that I've like adapted to care about are no longer as important.
I'm going to put a pin in that for a moment, and I think we should get to a little bit of whiskey first.
Yeah.
And I think
Introduce that whiskey, Chuck. What do we got today?
Well, it's a brand that had been known as the famous old brand for quite some time, but more commonly to the Wagner household as Chicken Cock. So we're having the Chicken Cock bourbon. It's 90 proof. It's not age stated, but as Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey by law must be at least 4 years. The mash bill looks like a 70% corn, 21% rye, and 9% malted barley. The interesting thing about this brand is it's actually one of the oldest brands of bourbon in the United States. Was originally from Paris, Kentucky, went through Prohibition, and then kind of died off post-World War II. And then recently, a company in Bardstown has revived the brand and started doing like a bunch of different expressions of it. So should be pretty interesting. So it actually, it's not sourced. It's actually distilled within Kentucky and bottled there. So
That's rare.
cool. Yeah, sometimes.
Everyone sources.
Yeah, everyone sources these days.
When you introduced this to me earlier, you said, this is the fun one to say, and I appreciate that you had a lot of fun saying it.
I will. I am an infant, and I will continue to have fun
Yes.
saying chicken cock, and saying
As
that
well you should.
You know, it's not, well, it's Robbie's nickname. Okay. All right, here we go.
I do like the bottle as well.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's got kind of
Like
like
chicken
a
wire?
chicken wire feel to
I
it.
kind of went with honeycomb, but that makes
yeah,
way more sense.
Yeah.
That's more than I should have poured.
Well,
You're fine.
I
Thank
don't
you.
begrudge you that. All
I
right.
just forgot for a moment that this is straight liquor and not, mixed drink.
We'll add a little Diet Coke, splash Diet Coke in there for you later. All right. So I'm getting some kind of like a brown sugar.
It's very sweet.
70% corn is
Yeah.
definitely going to do that.
Very sweet.
It smells pineapple-y to me.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I got a slight fruit tinge and a slight like brown sugar kind of smell, but it does have like just a sweetness overall in the aroma.
Yeah. I'm not trained in the art of
It's all bullshit.
Of
I'm making it up.
describing.
Don't worry about it.
yeah.
Just think of like your favorite candy.
I wasn't gonna say that, but I was
And,
pretty sure you were all
I'm getting like a
Spouting
dried
nonsense.
apricot flavor.
Oh, that's something you've never gotten before.
Yeah, dried
Yeah.
apricot.
tastes a bit like
brown
dirty
sugary.
sweatpants.
Oh, I use the descriptor new Nikes a lot. Like
He has
new
done that.
shoes.
Yeah, like the new
Yeah.
rubber of shoes.
Specifically Nikes. though.
New Nike rubber.
Yeah, I feel like I get a slight like vanilla finish with a little nutmeg too, but it does all like a lot of sweeter flavors.
Tastes like sweet whiskey to me, and I'm not mad about it.
no,
Yeah.
no, it's not.
Yeah, I
it's
think it's
not a
pretty
bad
good.
thing. No sugar added. Federally regulated spirit here. So
Of course.
Do some places add? Well, I guess like a flavored one would add sugar. Yeah.
Sure.
remember that weird banana one you had us try?
That one was good though.
It actually was better
Yeah.
than it sounds.
Well, bourbon has rules, right? Like
Yes.
there's specific. I mean, obviously it has to be made in Kentucky, but like
Oh nope, that's not true.
not a rule apparently. So I was
Kentucky
wrong.
straight bourbon has to be made in Kentucky.
That's a misnomer that a lot of people think though.
I thought that
I thought
for the
that
longest
too.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so bourbon can be made anywhere in the United States, but it has to be at least 51% corn in the mash bill. It has to be aged at least 4 years in brand new charred oak barrels. It has to go into the barrels at a maximum of, I think, like 120, 125 proof.
Okay.
Before the aging process, and cannot have any artificial flavorings. It's basically the only thing that makes Jack Daniel's not bourbon is the fact that they filter it in maple flavored charcoal.
I learned so much just now. It's funny. I've been to the Jack Daniel's tour, and you'd think they would have said something along those lines, and I would have remembered, but I don't.
Yeah.
They don't care about being bourbon though.
No, they don't. They have their own thing going.
I was born in Kentucky, and so it was taught in like grade school. No,
They went
not
through
really.
ABC
But I've been to
and
the
then went straight into that.
yeah, exactly. And then they're like, "Oh, you
And
got
B
a
stands for
toothache?
bourbon, and today we're going to learn all about bourbon.
Hey, boy, you got a toothache there? Here, I got a little whiskey for you." I mean, they actually used to do that. That's a grandma's thing. Put a little whiskey on your toothaches.
Now I know.
Yeah, knowing's half the battle.
Yeah.
That's what G.I. Joe used to say.
Yeah.
Alrighty, we'll get into the rating portion of it using our expert rating system from the octopus. 1 to 8 tentacles, 1 tentacle being terrible, never give this to me again. 8 tentacles being amazing, I never want to drink anything else. So it makes 4 like pretty decent still in the middle.
Okay.
And just compared to whiskeys that you like to drink in general, like how you would rate this.
Seems very arbitrary.
Oh, it's absolutely.
Because if I was if I had a row of whiskeys and I was comparing them, I'd be all over this. But now I'm just like, I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. So I'm gonna go with 6 only because the 2 tentacles that I would reserve would be because of maybe it's a touch too sweet in my taste. Like I do want something a little bit drier, but overall I do like the flavor. I like the smell, and I could imagine it making a pretty tasty Manhattan or something.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that for sure.
How much did this cost, Chuck?
So bear in mind this came through like DoorDash, so there's always like a premium added onto that. But I want to say it was like 60, 65, something like that. I think like their basic offering is around $50. So this is like their intro one, and they have some age-stated ones and a few other varieties. But yeah, I'm going to say let's give it $50-$60, something like that.
Okay. With that in mind, I might say 6 too. I think it's pretty good. It's maybe not super good for that price point, but everything's expensive these days.
Yeah,
so,
right.
you know, like comparing to the Buffalo Trace being
Except for
really
like that,
cheap.
there's that peanut butter whiskey now that everyone drinks.
It's
horrible.
I've tasted it once. It's so
Yeah,
bad.
I took the
What
tiniest sip.
What is it
and-
called? You remember?
Screwball.
Screwball?
It's
Yeah.
called Stupid Fucking Decision.
But it's also so incredibly cheap. At least the ones at the liquor stores near me, it's like you can get a handle for $20 or something.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
in San Diego, which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
I
that's
was like,
yeah.
it can't be good.
No,
at that
it's
price
not.
point.
Yeah, it's
and
not
then,
good.
Sure enough,
They include it free in a lot of the orders we do, and I'm like, nope, trash.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only reason why I've tried it is because I was given a shot for free.
oh,
Yeah.
same.
And I sipped some of that shot and threw it the rest out.
Yeah, I was watching a football game at a bar, and they came out, and it was like a touchdown thing where team scores, they bring out whiskeys for everyone, and I was like, sure, I'll have a shot of whiskey. They did not tell us that it was the dreaded peanut butter whiskey.
Yeah, you really got to warn
As
people
soon as you
about
hear
that.
it, you're like, no, come on. No. You didn't. Yeah. Oh, you did. Okay.
I'm going to say
Yeah.
Screwball is a 1 tentacle for me just because we haven't included a 0 on our scale, but I would probably cut off all the tentacles of that octopus rather
you
than...
would take the octopus and throw it in the trash.
Yeah, just throw that trash.
Poor octopus.
Yeah, I'd rather have Fireball than that stuff. And that is
That's
saying
true.
something. That stuff is horrible too.
Fireball has its time and place.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It
Just
was like
not
20 years
after-
ago.
Yeah, I was
for
about
me.
to say, just not after the age of 30, I think.
Yeah. So that's reasonable. Well, I'm feeling in the 6-ish zone. I try not to like go in the middles. I mean, because this isn't Star Search or whatever. I think it's as a sweeter whiskey, it's good. You usually kind of think about something like Maker's Mark, a weeded whiskey that have like the sweet side of it. I probably would like to try one at a higher proof. I think I'd like to balance it with a little more heat, like maybe 100 proof or so. And that maybe that would give something to it. So, but I'm gonna give it 6 tentacles. It's good. I'd have it again. I think it might make some really decent, like lower ingredient, like more alcohol forward cocktails. Yeah, I'm interested to try more chicken cock.
Yeah. Can't have too much chicken cock.
They're small.
Yeah. The small batch. Yeah.
Yeah, small batch.
Well, that's it for us, ladies and gentlemen.
We've been canceled.
I think the real hard-hitting question that we're here for is you have admitted publicly that you are skipping leg day on Twitter. I saw earlier. Tell us about that.
I was not expecting that as a curveball. I mean, technically at the gym, yes, but I was also training for a half marathon. So when you're training for a race like that and it requires a pretty significant time commitment, you kind of have to start rationing somewhere, right? Like your workout or fitness routine, unless you're like The Rock and you make money by being in shape.
Yeah,
right.
right.
Like I'm
That's
not.
a different world.
So yeah, I make money doing something that keeps me out of shape. So I need to like, keep that in check.
So you don't have a personal chef.
Oh God, I wish. That would be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I'd love not to think about food.
Yeah.
As much as I love food. Yeah, so I was running a lot, and I do HIIT workouts to sort of supplement that. Just because when I run, it's easy to just neglect everything here, like above the waist.
Yeah.
And I just want to keep in like relative shape, even though I can't commit to like a gym schedule and all that. So I would do 2 days a week in the gym for upper body, but then for the rest of the week, I'm basically running. So I'd be running 5 to 6 days a week, doing arms and shoulders and such 2 days a week. But when I say I skipped leg day, I mean, I wasn't going and doing like squats and lunges and stuff because it made running harder. It was a time crunch. And so I just didn't do it. And then after the race, I went in the week after and just did a brutal routine with basically nothing but lunges. And I cried every time I had to sit down or stand up for the next 2 days. It was the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
so infrequently
skip
work
leg
out
day,
that
yeah.
I get that every time I do leg day.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
oh
Just
my
like
God,
in
I need a
general,
walker.
When after
like if I don't work out or if I do work out, I just hurt.
Yeah. Yep.
he's just when he's lifting French fries to his
Yeah.
mouth. Sometimes too many
I don't do
curls
that.
like that.
Yeah. How old are you guys?
Mate, 45.
45.
I'm 32.
Okay,
He
so
looks much older than
32.
I do. I know.
I'm right there in the middle, sort of. I'll be 37 this year, but yeah, there's just like a certain point in your life, and you're getting there. You're right around that age where things just hurt for no reason, and you
my
can't
knees
explain
are
them.
gone, and
yeah.
I haven't done anything with my knees.
Yeah.
So I don't understand.
You wake up and you cough, and suddenly your back hurts, and you're like, what,
Yeah.
what happened?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. And so
You go to a chiropractor and you're like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
And you at least for me, like and fitness is important to me. I like to stay relatively healthy, but you can only fight Father Time so much, and you just try to keep him at bay as much as possible. That's all we're doing.
Yeah. I'm just trying to keep up with my kids for as long as possible.
Yeah, I don't have kids, but that's I imagine a huge motivator for a lot of
Yeah,
folks.
4 and 6, and they're getting fast. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. So that's been
Yeah.
my big motivator this year. It's
awesome.
Actually trying to recover from a couple years of isolation, and even switching to a home gym. It just was very infrequently used, and too many Shake Shack burgers ordered. Or I'm in Phoenix, so we have In-N-Out.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And it's hard to resist an In-N-Out double animal style. Now I just get a single patty, still cheeseburger, no animal style though.
Okay.
It's a little things.
Yeah, it is.
I think.
No, I mean, it absolutely makes a difference.
Yeah.
A lot of people go, especially with dieting, people go into it with this all or nothing mindset, and it totally doesn't work. And it doesn't work because it's all about forming habits, right? And if you're in the habit of eating double cheeseburgers and suddenly you say, I'm only going to eat salads, you're not going to only eat
That's not a
salads.
great
You're going to
habit.
fail pretty quickly, probably.
Yeah.
You can generally get, like, depending on your goals, you can generally do a lot better for yourself by eating the same foods that you eat today and just eating less of them.
Yeah.
Like,
Portion control.
totally underrated approach to I say dieting, but just like nutrition. Make sure you're getting a broad range of nutrients, but like if you're trying to make incremental changes, those are going to be the ones that last the longest. And so cutting from a double cheeseburger to a single hamburger without a ton of sauce is a totally reasonable thing to do.
Yeah. I feel like every time I travel overseas, I actually lose weight because I move more and portions are smaller. And for the most
they don't
part,
cook with totally fake oils everywhere.
it's all real stuff. And I typically eat whatever. I mean, go to Italy and I would eat pizza and gelato every single day and still lose weight. Mm-hmm. So, there's something to be said for that too.
Helps if you go to Positano and you just have to go up and down the
Up and
stairs
down the
all
hills. Yeah.
Now, what happens when you go to Atlanta?
Apparently, I drink too much and am very tired from a
fried
3-hour
chicken.
time.
Dude,
We were talking about going to Gus's later. I don't know if
we went
anybody's
yesterday.
plug Gus's, but man, love
It's
that
good.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
it
went
was good.
yesterday.
Yeah.
I got the greens and the slaw. I got the 2-piece dark. I wish I would have got a 3-piece.
Yeah. I could have done a half chicken, probably.
Yeah, the chicken is really good. I like how when it's not too much breading, right?
Yeah.
I grew up here. I have so much Southern food in my blood. Like literally, I'm sure there's like oil just hanging out in my bloodstream.
Oh, yeah, a
from
lot of
all
lard.
all of the stuff that I've put in my body over the years. But that's the one thing I miss the most about when I'm like thinking about things I miss living in California. Just the ability to have delicious fried foods. Now we have like the people's guilty pleasure is like acai bowls.
Ugh, yeah, no.
Those are good, though.
I don't
but
think
stop
they're that
pretending they're breakfast. It's like
Yeah.
that's a dessert. Come on,
Right,
come on.
exactly.
People go into the coffee shop and get one at like 7 a.m. They're like, "Oh, it's fruit."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no, that's a bowl of ice cream.
My wife
Exactly.
used to like to have them for lunch, and I'm like, but then I can't have lunch, and like I like lunch. I don't want to
Yeah, right?
replace it with this.
Yeah,
that is
same
a
thing.
giant dessert.
Yeah.
Maybe like
Yeah. It's like a yogurt parfait, or something like that. Like the first time I was ever in San Diego, I think it was in 2000, something like that. And I was living in Cincinnati then, so it was the Midwest without a lot of culture and diversity and food options, really. But I ate a lot of Southern food. I grew up in Kentucky.
yeah. Cincinnati's what like it's like 4 hours from Nashville, I think.
Yeah,
I do
and
that drive from time to time.
and Northern Kentucky's like right there. And my grandparents lived in Louisville for a while, and so I got a lot of that Southern food and everything too, but didn't try too much else. I remember the first time rolling into San Diego and seeing fish tacos, and for me, like Taco Bell or like Chi-Chi's was the Mexican food option. I was like, what are they putting in? This is disgusting. Why would you eat fish in a taco?
Oh no, they're It's the best.
But it's amazing.
I eat some form of either fish tacos or Mexican food of some variants at least 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah.
It's the best.
I think Mexican food has enough variety that you could eat it daily and not get tired of. Like, if you
it's
had
definitely
the same thing every time.
Sure, and it's definitely a healthier approach than eating fried chicken all the time. For sure. So,
I mean, you can go that way too on that side of things. You chimichanga, and a big thing of guac and
100%.
sour cream.
I just think it's easier to find healthier options at it's like a taqueria or something than it is to go to Gus's.
Gus's does not have an option. They're not
There's a
interested in
possibility
offering
of
you that.
vegetables
Even
that
the-
haven't been fried.
Yeah, even the vegetables have meat in them. Like you can't escape it.
Yeah,
love
greens.
that,
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds the funniest thing when we were moving. Wasn't my wife at the time, but my future wife, and we were moving from Arizona to DC way back in like 2011 or whatever. Driving cross country, big moving truck, whatever else. Make a stop at a Cracker Barrel.
I used to work there in college.
I love Cracker Barrel, some hash brown casserole, like chicken and dumplings. I can do
Chicken
this.
and dumplings for sure.
Yes, exactly. So, it's just
Taking me back.
It's one of the better things you can get on the road too, you know, in a pinch.
And they're consistent too.
Yeah, wherever you go, this is what they got. And so we go, and she loves green beans. She orders green beans, but she had never had Southern style green beans before. So she's like, they're like in water and they're like soft and there's like bacon in there. What the hell is this? And I'm like, this is green beans.
Yeah.
For me, that's how you have green beans, you know?
She's like, no, you saute them in like light sunflower oil
she
and
wants
sprinkle them with
crispy,
salt.
Like, almondine style,
Which is also delicious.
Yeah, it is good, but
I will say, like, of the Southern vegetables, that's the one I actually prefer fancy bougie style over
you?
Southern style.
Okay.
I don't like Southern style green beans.
Okay.
But like collard greens, forget about it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
we need to soak that stuff in some pig fat and vinegar.
Yes, a lot of vinegar.
Yeah.
And the like vinegar with the pepper. Oh, yeah.
the
Love
best.
that too. Corn, so much corn. So like fried. I had fried corn in lard as a kid too. And grandparents had a quote
your
unquote
parents hated
garden.
you?
They loved
Fried
me.
corn. Wow.
Fried-
Okay.
Well,
You had a
would,
lot of
you'd fry it
deep
like,
fried and
no,
stuff, too.
not deep fried with breading, but you'd fry it in some like in a pan with some
Oh,
lard.
like just okay. I see what you're saying. I see what
Yeah,
you're saying.
yeah,
Okay.
just everything
Yeah, I
had
guess that
lard
makes
for
yeah,
whatever reason.
because
They make their own biscuits with the lard and stuff. Oh.
yeah, if I was doing like cream corn, that's
Yeah,
you're
that
not
kind
frying
of
it, but
thing.
it's essentially the same fat content, I imagine.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
So
Just loads of butter.
exactly, all things with lard and butter.
Lard and butter.
Delicious.
Those are the life force.
You got anything to plug before we end?
It feels nice to say not really. Like I'm no longer working on developer facing things, so I don't feel the need to talk about my work too much. I am very slowly trying to build a course called Front to Back. So go to fronttoback.dev and see the very, very early beginnings of my attempt to teach front-end developers how to become better back-end developers and fill that void. And so, yeah, that's something I'm working on, and I'm probably going to launch different pieces of it at a time instead of just like having a big rollout. I'll have different modules we'll ship out and maybe do some workshops here and there and just try and keep some content coming while I work, because it's a big workshop and it's a pretty big commitment.
So
yeah.
wait, that's the URL. That's not your Pornhub channel.
Well, it might be
to back
both.
could be
I
both.
never said it wasn't both. That's on you if you're searching that. I'm not going to tell you not to.
Fair
But yeah, fronttoback.dev, and that'll take
Hopefully
you there.
you already own it.
Yeah.
Or someone's buying it.
I do own it.
Excellent.
And so, yeah, go there and you'll find me. You can follow me on Twitter at ChanceTheDev. I'm now on, I picked the handle because of the rapper, but I actually worked out in my favor very early on in my Twitter days because when Chance the Rapper would come out with a new album, people would accidentally tag me all the time. And so I got all this exposure accidentally from
nice.
random people. I actually got a few followers. They probably didn't stick around very long, but
Whatever.
nonetheless, that's what I was going for. Yeah, so follow me on the Bird site. I just started using Blue Sky, so you can follow me there too. It's at chance.dev. Yeah, I guess that's about it. I don't have much else to promote.
All right.
Peace,
Thanks,
love, and
everyone.
happiness.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. If you liked it, please subscribe, leave us some ratings and reviews, and we'll catch you next time.
All right. Well, we'll start with a little whiskey today, as we often do. Today, we have selected the Restoration Rye from Castle and Key. It is their single barrel, also barrel proof. So it's going to be a hot one at 121.3 proof. It is aged 4 years in charred oak barrels, they say. The mash bill is 17% corn, 63% rye, and 20% malted barley. The cool thing about this place, it's a newer distillery, but it's actually in one of the oldest distilleries in Kentucky. It's the old Colonel Taylor distillery in Frankfort. They restored it some years ago, started distilling their own stuff, I think in 2018, and here's one of their products. Gonna do the little pop there, and then I'm gonna do a little pour, and then we can get into it.
Smells like some black pepper and bergamot to me.
Bergamot. Bergamot's a very
Specific descriptor. Yeah.
I can feel the black pepper. I feel lots of honey and some flowers in it.
I don't have the vocabulary yet to describe what I'm experiencing.
Yeah, you just try to associate it as closely as you can to something else that is tangible to other people.
I'm trying to
It's all
separate
kinda
the
random.
alcohol.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little like musty, mossy too.
Oh, yeah.
Fine, but maybe I just have some allergies.
I think it's some of that. Yeah.
Oh,
No apricot whatsoever in that.
I would agree.
Yeah. I get, so a little bit of that peppery, like black pepper, like you said, and a little bit of like banana peel, kind of.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me try that again.
My
I kind of
initial
understand the banana peel.
Right? Okay. So I'm not.
I think the first thing is that it's super smooth. It doesn't fight you back, and it's really nice to drink this whiskey.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 121 proof, I actually don't think it's that painful, really.
Yeah.
I'm used
Yeah.
to a lot of burn
Yeah.
on the way
Yeah.
down for that kind of stuff.
No
but-
burn at all.
Yeah.
It feels like, you said it's 4 years old.
Yeah.
It feels like something like 20 years old in
Right.
terms of that. There's no burn, lot of flavor. It is developing in the mouth, long aftertaste. I really like it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. You were saying that you were going down the rye path of things.
Yeah.
What would you say is your favorite rye right now?
I think there's one from actually Douglas Lang that was a rye one,
Yep.
but that is Scotch. That's not bourbon.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I have to confess, I'm more into Scotch simply because I worked in a company from the UK.
Oh, okay.
And-
Yes.
By the way, tech company,
Yes.
and this is how I got into whiskey.
One does run into the other sometimes, So
It does.
yeah, it's been about 20 years for me in tech, and gosh, I don't know. I've been drinking from all of those 20 years.
Yeah.
So
You liked whiskey beforehand, though.
yeah, that's true. I'm from Kentucky originally,
Yeah.
so that's kind of part of it.
Yeah.
So on the other side of the spectrum, then, Emmy, what do you think?
So I am at the stage where I am just a couple years into, well, I turned 21 the fall before the pandemic.
Okay.
So my friends always had birthdays later than me. And so I never drank outside that much. And most of my experience with alcohol has just been, will this get me drunk? And if so, then okay,
Right,
that's good. But yeah, since I started work and the folks at Wix, they're all very knowledgeable about different drinks and have been trying to get me to understand a little more.
Yeah, I think the more things you try, you kind of develop that
Yeah.
vocabulary over time, and
Oh,
also
definitely.
you kind of figure out what you like.
Yeah.
So this will be an interesting aspect of it then, because we usually do a rating thing. It's 1 to 8 tentacles, because of the octopus thing. 1 being like terrible, never give this to me again. 8 being like, this is amazing, I want to drink this all the time. And then sort of anything in between there. In context, you don't have to necessarily compare that to other whiskeys either. It's just like,
Right.
do I enjoy having this thing? And compared to, I don't know, maybe you've had Fireball, compare it to Fireball, would you have this or that? We also tend to segment it out based on the kinds of whiskeys we've tried. So we'll compare this to other ryes. We'll have a bourbon or a Scotch and kind of keep those. But we're also every week doing new whiskeys, so it's just a little easier to contextualize. But the scale isn't that serious anyway, and so I just like to say, frame it however it works for you, right? If you're would I rather have this or a beer, or is the beer a Miller Lite or a nice IPA or something? So totally arbitrary, and you can kind of set it in that way. I'll kick it off just so you guys kind of know how we do it. So yeah, again, for ryes, I agree with you. I think this is extremely smooth for the proof of it. I love the presentation. I like kind of the story behind it and everything else. Albeit, I always tend to kind of like use Sagamore rye as kind of our baseline. And that's a rye that is price-wise, I think it's great. You can get a plain, like normal 90 proof Sagamore rye for like $35. Super good, super tasty. You can sip it all the time. This one I think was 70, but again, it's a barrel proof, a single barrel of like little limited. I think twice a year they release this one. And for that smoothness and stuff, I think I'm gonna give it a 7. I love the presentation. I think the price was like 70. Now it's also on DoorDash, so it might be a little skewed. And at this proof, it's gonna get me drunk, Emmy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna kick it to you first, and then we're gonna come back.
All right, all right.
Yes.
You know, I think I would also give it about a 7.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't drink it like a juice,
Yeah,
but
no,
I
that's
do
not recommended.
understand that that's not what alcohol is for. And I took literally a sip, and I'm warming up a little bit. Granted, I am Asian, so it's always, you know, like I already have a bit of like a lower tolerance than most people, but I do feel like if I finish what I have left, which is not very much, I'm gonna walk out of here looking a little redder than usual. But, you know, the basis for comparison I have is like Fireball.
Right. Yeah. No.
But that stays with you after you drink. It like lingers and it burns.
Yeah. It's
And the
intended
fact-
to
yeah.
hang around for a while. So.
Yeah, and
The next morning it hangs around. Yeah.
no, for real. But if I were to, you know, enjoy having a drink, and I think I actually prefer being a lightweight and not having to drink as much.
Yeah.
The efficiency,
There you go.
it's very efficient.
Yeah.
And it for, what was it, 120 proof?
121 proof.
121 proof. That's not bad at all, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I think you're lucky. I think we got you on a good one.
Yeah.
Have you tried bad ones on
Oh
the
yeah.
podcast?
Oh yeah.
Bad
That must
ones?
be a blast.
Yeah, we've had bad whiskeys. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
bad
Oh.
whiskeys. Oh yeah, we've had a few that have been.
Oh, but the bottle is very nice. It's very hefty. It feels luxurious.
Yeah.
And I will judge a book by its cover.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes that's how
Usually
that's-
Sometimes it
accurate.
helps.
Yeah.
when you get it on DoorDash, that's just how you have to judge things. It's not
Yeah.
like you can taste it.
So for me, I have to say I have a little bit of debate between 6 and 7.
Okay. Yes.
Because when I taste the whiskey as is, it could have been more complex, could have been a little more deep. With that in mind, that would be a 6.
Okay.
But when I factor in the age, which is just 4 years old,
Yeah.
which is amazing for whiskey at 4 years old to be that good, I would say it's definitely a 7.
Nice. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I think I would agree, and I do judge everything by how it looks. So the bottle is nice, and yeah, the taste is good. I think compared to Sagamore, which is kind of our baseline, it's still pretty good. I would say 7. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So uniform 7s across the board.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. It's too bad we weren't in Vegas right now.
I love the way that the bottle looks like. It's really, really nice looking bottle.
Yeah, I think they've done a great job on that.
She's got some curves.
Yes.
Nice
Like nice
cap.
indentations. You could tell because there are certain newer distilleries where they're just buying like the generic either squat or tall bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just like everything looks like
It's
that.
very hard to get a custom bottle. You have to order like 500,000 at least. So you have to be committed to that bottle.
Well, I haven't said this yet today, so maybe it's perhaps time. But like, yeah, like the chicken cock bottle from yesterday that had like
Wanna
kind of
see
like
how many
a
times you can
chicken
say that?
wire
Yeah.
kind of thing around the bottle. It was like it was kind of honeycomb if you want to be classy, but like I think it was just
It's definitely
wire.
chicken wire because of
Yeah.
the name.
Chicken
Yeah.
cock. Yes.
Yeah. What's the name again?
One small side here, and then we'll get into hot takes. But I saw this on Twitter or something the other day, and it's like HBO Max has cut their name now to just Max. It's your move, Peacock.
I saw that.
That's a good joke.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
So I feel like it was like an official channel or something too, which made it even funnier.
Oh, yeah.
I would be remiss if we did not ask Yoav this question, which is: you walked from Israel to the U.S.
Yeah, I didn't understand
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Okay. So you're Jesus
Well, no. So what
walking
happened?
on water.
What happened
He is from
was
Israel.
that
I'm a carpenter.
my father was working for the Israeli airliner.
Okay.
So when we had a deal that we can go for standby for flight.
Yes.
So basically, you go to the runway and
I
you
worked
like.
for an airline at one
Yeah.
point, so I
So
remember
you're
back in the day.
going on the you're standing on the the tamarack, and you're like, hey, can I get a ride? So they told the captain that there are two children of two employees that they can take. It was full flight, and it was like, oh, okay, we have a small seat in the cockpit, so they can be there. So I was 26, the other child was 23, and we ended up flying without a seat.
Right.
So we basically walked.
Not even the jump seat.
We
Like,
walked for
holy moly.
12 hours all the time. We were back and
my
forth
gosh.
in the airline.
Yeah.
So it was basically walking to the US.
Oh, okay. That's a good story. I love that. I wasn't sure where that was going to go, but that
Yeah.
makes more sense.
I tried to give you as little context as possible.
Yeah, that helps us dive into. As a whiskey aficionado, apparently you make your own wine.
Yes, yeah. There is a small winery in Israel where it's actually a school of wineries, and you start by picking the grapes and doing all the process till bottling, which is really, really cool stuff.
What kind of grapes do you use?
So I've done Cabernet Sauvignon and Chardonnay and Grenache, and now we're doing Syrah, and we're going to see what we're going to do next year.
Nice.
Super
So it's
cool.
Kind of
Yeah.
rotating through
Yeah.
a few different things. Yeah, that'd be a neat thing.
Yeah, we
Robbie,
would make our own whiskey, but it's a felony, so we don't.
Really?
Why? Where's the felony?
Unless you get registered
It's
and
really
approved,
hard
and
to
yeah, you
become
can
a
make
distiller
beer and
because
wine,
apparently it's very
no problem.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, you can kill
Oh.
people.
and you can blow
easily,
yourself up
and
as
you can
well.
blow yourself
Yeah,
up. Yeah, I know. We're gonna take
Yeah.
it up in the hills, take our shoes off.
yeah,
It's worth
start
it.
distilling
It's
a
worth
little
the
more,
risk.
and then we'll see what just happens. I don't know.
yeah. Yeah, well, we are about at time here. Is there anything else you guys want to plug or anything we mentioned before we end?
So I think our biggest challenge is to get Amy to drink more.
I will finish my drop of drink.
The thing you have to keep in mind
It's early for her.
about
Give her a
Wix
break.
is that Wix is a company driven by alcohol.
Are you hiring? Because I quit podcast
Yeah,
and whatever else because I found my
Yeah.
home.
It's working for an Israeli company has been so chill. And I don't know how I'm going to go back to working for corporate America again.
They're not gonna fire you. You're fine. I've said it now on a podcast.
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
on record. Yeah,
But yeah, if I plug anything, it's our Discord community and Twitter, Devs on Wix for both. Twitter handle is Devs on Wix. And we do a lot of stuff with community events. If you're local to certain cities, like a lot of events in New York.
Phoenix.
Maybe if you're willing to have us, maybe we'll find a way.
Chuck has a house.
Yeah, but we.
I also have a co-working space where I can do a
That's
public
true. That's
thing,
true. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Maybe if we're ever in Phoenix, we'll let you know.
Sounds good.
But yeah, we do a lot of work telling people about what we have to offer, helping people general web dev stuff. And they're just an incredible community and I love them. And I have nothing bad to say about them, but I would love if people could follow them more and give them the recognition they deserve.
Yeah, cool.
Awesome.
Thanks everybody for listening. If you liked it, please subscribe, leave us some ratings and reviews. We appreciate it, and we will catch you next time. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Whiskey Web and Whatnot with myself, Robbie the Wagner, and my co-host, as always, Charles William Carpenter III.
Actually, I've just changed my name. I'm Chris Coyier III.
Oh,
okay.
I haven't yet. Yeah.
No?
That would be for my third masculine child. Unless we want KRIS, which
Wait.
is also a very cool spelling of it.
Oh, like crisscross, you know?
Yeah.
The
Right.
beats that make you want to jump.
That's
jump.
true.
That
They
one.
were, I think they identified as men, though, didn't I? So I guess it goes both ways. You can spell it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a terrible intro.
Side note, are you Christopher?
I
that
am.
the full?
Yeah, all the way through. All the way
Okay.
through. In fact, if you chop off the Chris, that was my childhood nickname. Tiffer.
Topher?
No, not like Topher, like the renowned
Like Topher Grace.
Topher
Yeah.
Grace. Tiffer, which is not how my name is spelled. It's just that's how it became.
Phonetically.
Yeah. What do you call that when the phonetics make their way to words? I bet there's a cool linguist word for
There
it.
definitely
Probably,
is.
yeah.
Yeah. So I know a homonym is when it's spelled the same and can be pronounced differently.
Oh,
or
I
when
thought
it's
that was that
phonetics.
like big kind of corn, or is that hominy?
Hominy, yeah.
Hominy is a big kind of corn. Yeah. So we're starting with whatnot today, folks.
We're doing whatever.
So as you may have gleaned, our guest today is Chris Coyier formerly of CSS Tricks, currently of, and for quite some time of CodePen.
Yeah, that's right. I've been on the show before too. So
Yeah, you have.
Refer back to show 78. That's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
a real
go
number.
back there. If
Not
we were
real.
good
Well,
at
that's a
this,
real number,
we-
but it's not the one you were on.
No, you were probably on show like 23 or something.
It was earlier,
early
yeah.
days, and you had your cool lighting and better.
We still has that.
better setup. Yeah, you still have it. Probably.
Probably.
I don't know
Yeah, I
that
don't
it went
remember the
away.
details then, but I do remember receiving a lovingly shipped bottle of whiskey.
Yes,
which
yes.
we cracked open and did the thing, which we'll do again today.
Yeah.
With,
Oddly
yeah.
enough, we're
Chicken
not going to be.
penis, I think is the name
Chicken
of-
penis is what they're affectionately known as in Kentucky. But here, when you go buy it at a liquor store, it is called. It's the famous old brand, is what many people say, or affectionately known as chicken cock.
Sure.
Which is kind of redundant in a way, right? A chicken and a
Because that's what it means, right?
yeah. That's what they mean. That's probably not what we mean when we say.
Well,
it.
yes.
So Chris really wanted.
Chicken.
Yes, we've reviewed this one on another episode, but Chris really wanted to dive into it. And
Oh,
talk
I
more
already
about
had
it.
that other bottle. They only brought 2 bottles.
No,
to it.
we brought you a
we
new
have
bottle,
another
and you
one.
still picked this one.
There was miscommunication.
It was brand new
perhaps.
stuff that could have happened.
That was definitely me. But I am a little excited about this one because I walked into this room, took a shot of it, and was like, good.
Yes, and you're
So-
like, you know what I want
so
to
I
keep?
don't mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the known versus the unknown.
Can I
and
describe a little
appreciate
bit more
that.
of the bottle?
Yes, please.
Bees aren't implied, but they're implied by the texture of the bottle. It's a honeycomb textured bottle.
Or
which
Well,
chicken
subtly
wire.
Chicken
implies-
wire, I think.
Chicken wire.
I changed my mind.
Now that you have that information, do you still say honeycomb?
It does at
Well,
first
it's
glance
both
look.
now.
Yeah, it's a honeycomb pattern fence.
I mean, it could be both. I mean, design doesn't have to be one thing, right?
Right.
So it does a little, and the color is like a little. It's. I wouldn't say it's honey, but you could squint and
Yes.
think it's honey.
Yeah.
It will make you think it's sweet, whether it is or not. And I know less about whiskey, but certainly, when you go to a winery and they explain to you what you're going to drink, you're definitely going to taste whatever they say.
Oh,
Because
right.
Your mind has already been.
Yeah, so give us a
twisted
random
by-
descriptor for this one that you think it tastes like, and we'll see if we taste it.
Yeah. Well, hold on for listeners. Dear listener, if you didn't listen to the other one, just in case you didn't hear that one with Chance where we did this.
So good.
I want to tell
not
you.
the
it's
rapper.
not Chance the rapper, Chance the dev.
Yeah, Chance the Dev.
This is 90 proof, non-age stated, but as bourbon, it's legally required to be at least 4 years old. The mash bill is 70% corn, 21% rye, 9% malted barley, and one of the oldest brands in Kentucky from 1856, although had a brief hiatus
Wow.
before coming back more recently. Yeah.
Oh, I see. It's like a
Rejuvenated
retro-
old
yeah,
band,
sure,
old brand.
right.
But it is still made and bottled in Kentucky, so I kind of dig that.
Yeah, not sourced, right? They actually made it.
Not sourced,
Yeah.
yes. And it's a place out of Bardstown. I guess they could have sourced it at another place in Bardstown, but it's not the famous like NGP Indiana everybody gets their shit from if they haven't been around very long.
If you're from that area, you've definitely heard of this. Is it famous in that way? Kind of.
And I hadn't heard of it. I am a child, and when I first saw it, came across it a year or so ago, I was
You
like,
bought it for a certain reason.
I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, I want this, but I also don't because it's kind of funny, and I just took advantage of that this time. So
wow, yeah, just give in to your inner desires. That's what I do.
yes, be who you are, even if it is like a 6-year-old.
Okay, so
right.
now we drink. Even
Now we
though
drink.
I've had a whole bunch
It's
of
I've been
this
drinking
already.
it, yeah.
I like it more and more each time, though.
Yeah, let me find some arbitrary descriptors here. Let's see.
Right. Yeah, especially like second coming of it. I wonder if I'm going to feel a little differently about it. And
I smell some light
He
Fritos.
said second coming. God dang it, I'm a child too. Just realized I'm also a child. Light. I mean, I can't help but I went into this thing. I was just like, my talk is done. It's the second day. I could use a shot,
Yeah.
So I just poured it into my mouth before listening to Chuck's beautiful idea that you do this thing where you put a little in, you swish it around, you open up your palate to be. I didn't do any of that. I just went, and it still was amazing, very tasty. I mean, you could. Why don't one of you talk about it more intelligently? But I'll give it a healthy thumbs up.
Okay, out of one, you may not recall the rating system of 1 to 8 tentacles, 1 being terrible, 8 being amazing. I want only this all the time.
6.
Boom.
Yeah.
There you go.
I can
come back.
imagine better whiskeys, but I quite like it.
Yeah, you wouldn't shy away from a chicken cock.
Absolutely not. In fact, I might ask for it by name.
I hope so.
Oh, God.
Okay, so we've established the tone and
I would give
Yeah.
me one huge.
chicken cock. I'll take
What
a
did the
double
marketing
chicken cup.
stuff say? Pull up the marketing and read that on the. Now that we've already gone through
I will do that.
They-
Although you
they
may have to
embrace
talk
the
a little
name.
while I do
Yeah,
that.
it does
but-
feel like it was more than one person's college nickname.
1856, established 1856. So
Yeah.
again, I didn't make this up totally, but it was a creamy, almost buttery mouthful of chicken cock.
You could spread it on toast.
You can't really. Oh man, you can't make this stuff up. So anyway, I think yesterday I gave it like a 6 or something of that
Yeah,
nature.
I think we were around that,
Yeah,
Sure.
in the bourbon world, I'm actually more because it is a bit sweeter. I'm comparing it to things like weeded bourbons, such as like Maker's
Wait, did I
Mark.
say 8? Because you said
You
one
said
out of
like
8?
5, 6, whatever.
I think
You know,
6. Yeah, I wasn't trying. If I said 8, I didn't because I was.
You didn't
maybe,
say 8.
Okay, good.
No.
because
You
that's
said like
the
5 or 6.
maximum, right? It's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
not the
You're
maximum.
like this is it for me.
There's
This is
room to
amazing.
there's room to grow. You know,
I mean, it is a chicken, and is it based on proportionate or I don't know. Anyway,
I'm not sure how that works.
okay, we should let this go a little bit. So, Chris, you were mentioning that you completed your talk here. Again, we're still at RenderATL.
Yeah, really
You can
live.
hear it in the
Yeah.
background. Maybe
You might hear it.
Probably,
Yeah,
hopefully
boom.
not. But
Boom, boom, boom. That's not just me.
It's
doing
cool.
It. That's just
It's living
happening
up to
here.
its name a little bit. It does say RenderATL, Tech Conference and Music Festival. And I was, I was 10% skeptical that it was a music festival. But especially with tonight, man, I had lunch with a guy today. We're not even on premises, It was one of those like, it's a good business opportunity kind of.
yes.
But, a guy I really respect and wanted to meet in person.
Yep.
We went at lunch and he's going to like come crash it because he's so excited about the DJ playing tonight.
Wow.
So it's like,
Whom
it's
I've
a
not
big
heard
name.
of 'cause I'm old and dumb like
K-Tronda
that
or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not aware.
Big
of
name,
who it
maybe
is, but-
especially in Atlanta.
Oh,
I
so
don't know,
you
but-
didn't have a Jersey Mike's sub for lunch?
No, but I do like Jersey Mike's. But I
I love
get
Jersey
Mike's
Mike's
for lunch a lot. So
It's
That's
so
fair.
good.
Yeah.
So
It's a
good.
good sandwich. I actually
Yeah.
hadn't had one in a while. We had one yesterday, and it was like, okay, you got
Yeah.
a point. Actually, for a sandwich, this is good. I like
Right.
going to the Jersey Mike's where they're like, shunk, shunk, shunk.
Right.
The meat right there. It makes me feel a little better.
it had
about
been a long time, and we ordered a. This is the worst story, but we had a babysitter the other night, and
Sure.
she rolled in with her own big bag of Jersey Mike's, and I was like, I like super respect that.
Oh,
for
yeah,
some
too.
reason. I was like,
Yeah.
well, you got a plan tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're gonna
you're
put
like-
my kid to bed, and you're gonna dig into that
Yeah.
turkey bacon guac or whatever it is.
I love that because for the babysitter, we're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, we'll get pizza or Chick-fil-A
Yeah.
for the kids' weekend,
Right.
whatever. What do you want? And they're always like, we don't care.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Your mind's been infested. I saw somebody had a Jersey Mike's and a Chick-fil-A.
There
today,
is
and I
here,
was
yeah.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
God, you just
Oh, they got
crushing.
both. They went.
That is
Yeah.
kind of a special, like
Hey, you don't normally get
that was
both.
a big
Yeah.
day. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
When you go to Subway and then you cruise and get some fries too.
That's, that's a power move.
It is
And,
kind of,
I mean,
yeah.
it is kind of in the same line, right? You go there, you go here.
Yeah,
here,
it's
there.
convenient.
Like,
Yeah.
it's a smorgasbord a little bit.
Yeah, we did get Jersey Mike's for our movers, which was interesting. So we were like, "Do you guys want pizza?" Or I
Yeah.
forget what else we offered, and
Yeah.
they're like, "Fuck pizza! We get pizza all the time."
Right.
Like Jersey Mike sounds great. Like, all right, cool. So we did that, and I ordered 10 subs on the app, and everyone there
true.
wanted to kill me.
I
And
almost feel like America's pizza out. Too much pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like pizza, but I'm kind of snobby about it now. I got one of those
right.
uni ovens, and so I'll get
Uni,
dough.
we're unied up.
Uni's
Unied.
great.
Yeah.
I try to do my own dough thing. I
Right.
am apparently horrible at this.
Well,
I like
my
everyone
wife,
else.
She has become obsessed
Of
with the
course.
making of bread, and now is
Yeah.
super good at that.
Yeah. And so she can get you
Right.
some dough, and you do the uni thing, and
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Do you
in a
keep it
minute.
outside or do you keep it inside?
I keep it in my shed. So I got
Yeah,
a
that's outside.
I got a
Correct.
yeah
You're in-
outside.
I just think it's a nice little place for mice to live. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, that's
Be
not-
worried. It does also get to like 800 degrees, so your mice problem is over relatively quickly.
Right, exactly. Well, and in the summer for me, it gets out in the shed. It's 120 degrees in the summer
Yeah,
or whatever
mice
else,
don't
and
like
that's
that
yeah.
either.
No,
Yeah.
mice aren't really a big problem in Arizona. We have like roof rats and stuff like that from time to time. But if you have fruit
Somehow
trees
I've never heard
around
of
your
that. Sounds
house,
terrifying.
if you have fruit trees around too close to your house, then they'll kind of eat the
Oh.
fruits and then live in your roof.
I had
But-
a roof rat
Yeah.
in Alexandria. It fell off the tree trying to go from the tree to our house
Yeah.
and was just
Yeah.
dead in the backyard.
Oh, wow.
And our
Yeah.
dogs were like, "Hey, let's play with this." And I was like, "Let's not."
Yeah, let's not. Yeah. You know, I saw Ratatouille,
Yeah.
but that's not my rat experience. You know, in
rats are
life,
gross,
so,
man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like mice
kinda
are
by
kind of cute, but
definition,
rats are
really.
just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just too big. Too
Yeah.
much like.
And their eyes are all red. And,
Right, like a
Yeah.
beady chicken.
Anyway, technology.
Anyway, we're 12 minutes into this.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, the banter is strong when you're a couple shots deep and you're at a conference together, live and in
Yeah,
person.
Exactly. And we don't
Really
need to
kinda
follow
cool.
format necessarily
Yeah.
to have a
Yeah.
good time and
I
whatever else.
really
so
like
don't.
it's good vibes for a thing. Plus the equipment is so cool that you get to use. You know, and whatever 99% of all podcasts I've ever done are just in a booth all by yourself. It's more fun.
Yeah,
live.
Yeah.
but you got
More
those
fun.
cool lights in your booth, so you know
Yeah.
maybe that helps like bring up the vibe or something.
They're like duct taped to the ceiling. Like, it looks so cool on video.
Yeah, they
but
look
in
fun.
real life, you're like, that's janky.
That's
Just don't
funny.
show anyone in real life. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just only being
But the talk is so cool, or the vibes are strong here. 2,500 people, they said, or 23 or 24 or something, which is just a tremendous number to get. Doubled every year. They should be very proud of that. I
Yeah.
think that's extremely cool. Huge staff, tons of volunteers, tons of diversity that feels very natural. Like that's just where we are. It's just
agreed.
strong. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing I would
so
have
I'm
to say
flattered to be
negative
here.
about it is that there are so many talks going on simultaneously and having to like
Yeah.
pick and choose what you want to see and wanting to see a handful all together that are happen
Yeah.
to be scheduled at the same time.
Kelly and
It's a
Sarah's
bummer,
are at
but-
the same time. Can't see both.
Right.
But
Like,
video.
They are at Fort. Yeah.
Yeah.
Video's cool. So I had to, the people that came to mind, I'm gonna go see. Oh, because I feel like I have no, loyalties and everything.
Nice.
So I'm gonna do that. And she's up against. At the same time is also Gina, who's just an old friend and a wonderful
yeah.
speaker, and a woman I met at the bar, and I was like, "Oh, hi, what do you do?" Like, "Oh, I did all the, was at Google, did a bunch of interesting things, but I left all that and I started making video games." And she's like, but was very clear. She's like, "I make video games about bubble tea." I'm like, "That's very."
Huh.
Very,
That's very niche,
specific. Yeah.
choice.
yeah, and it was so fascinating, and learned her journey making games with Unity so that they go on both platforms, and that it's not a paid game, and the whole like economics of whether you can pull off what they call a premium game is just a game that costs money off the bat. And most games are not that. Like
Yeah.
you have to be known good to pull that up. Otherwise, it better be free.
Yeah.
Because then you'll go
Yeah.
do numbers.
And then,
you
you
monetize. But there's different ways to monetize. I mean, I think a lot of us imagine this like banner ad just to connect this to the web. That's how ads work on the web too. And they're bid on and they're gross. You're playing some tic-tac-toe game and it's like, "Do you want to buy a Toyota Tundra?"
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yes,
"How
I
did you
do.
sign this
Maybe
to?"
Yeah. I feel like Tundra
But that's not what she
drivers-
does. She does the rewards style, which I think that's interesting too. So it's like you can play the game for free. There's no problem at all. But if you want, you don't have to do this. There's no forcing mechanism. But if you want more bubble units, or I literally haven't played the game, so sorry for the ignorance there. You watch the Geico video.
I love that.
You have to
Yeah.
watch it, and then you get.
I'll always watch the video.
Delta
I've
does
seen
it.
those
That's
kinds
how I
of
got
things.
freaking Wi-Fi on my flight over
Yep.
here.
Yep.
Because I was forced to watch a Verizon ad or something.
Yeah.
Right.
The problem is that's limited. So you only
Yeah.
get like 30 minutes of Wi-Fi or something.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that and then I ran out of videos and I was like, oh.
Right, but I mean, I think the biggest names in our industry are doing it. Then
Yeah.
Bubble Tea Game has all the right to do it, and it's even
Absolutely.
more
Yeah.
so okay, I think. And it's totally optional. It just seemed cool. The banner ad thing is gross because they try to put it where your thumb is.
Yeah. Make the X fake and the X is somewhere else.
Oh, that is the
Fucking
worst.
ads.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
you're tricking people with ads, I really hate that.
Yeah.
I don't begrudge people for finding ways
Right.
to monetize their work. They
Sure.
deserve to make money for their work in some
Right,
way.
right.
And, where the value is. I mean, ads aren't great, but they're a reality, right? Like, from the media side of things,
Right.
I'm sure you've heard and globbed enough to be like, news organizations want to provide content. National Geographic wants to provide content, but if they don't
love
sell
that
ads,
conversation, though, because it can be so cool. Like, what if if you open a National Geographic and there's like a big full-page nice ad for like a Lincoln Navigator or something,
Right.
that is wholly unoffensive to me.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like this organization spends a bunch of money
It's
trying to get
curated.
eyeballs, making beautiful pieces of work and photography and information, and the way that they make that work is by selling advertising to other companies who spend their money on research and development and safety. And it's just a different way of spending money.
Yeah.
Lincoln doesn't have media because they
Right.
spend their money in another way. It's very yin-yang and very positive. That's how I tried to run CSS Tricks back in the day. Can I have advertisers who spend their money on R&D and tech and those type of things? Can they give me money because I spend my money trying to get more eyeballs? It should be nice in that way. If, of course, soiled and ruined by bad actors.
Right.
So,
Well, that's it, right? Like people
Right.
try to game the system and play around, and you
Right.
try to curate and you try to be very thoughtful, and then ultimately either it just doesn't work and you still have to pay the server bills, or I don't know, whatever it is.
sure.
Yeah.
There's so much gray area too. It feels bad. Like what if the bubble tea game A/B tested the length of the ads? So 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 45 seconds. Just that test feels
Yeah.
a little bit like, oh, I'm doing it. I'm playing the mental game of trying to. What's the most effective thing I can do? You kind of have to do it, but it does make you feel a little weird, even though in the grand scheme of things, that's fine. What you for sure avoid is like a keylogger.
Yeah.
Or,
yeah.
that
How
kind of stuff.
much about that individualizes that? How far are you willing to go? And then like tailor too much, right? You're like the balance between like effective versus offensive and
I'll tell you, it is swung the wrong way.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I've been using this app on my phone we've seen this thing, the Instagram co-founders who have long since pieced out of Instagram. I'm sure they were on a beach for a while and then got the itch again or whatever, and made an app called Artifact. And it's pretty neat, but it's just customized news. So you sign, it's one of those apps you sign up and you're like, do you like sports? You're like, a little. Do you like, technology? A lot. And then it shows you things that you might be interested in. The more articles you read on your phone, it learns a little bit about you. So it makes no bones about learning what you like.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, I clicked on the McSweeney's article with the funny thing about this politics or whatever, and now it shows me like 3 more McSweeney's, but I don't hate it because I kind of like those articles. So it's personalized news for me. But the whole reason I bring this up is that it's a phone app, and when you click onto it, it doesn't like leave the app. It just opens like a web view of the article,
yes.
right? You can imagine that. Your ad blockers don't work in that. So despite the fact that I run an ad blocker like a sane person on my phone, there is no ad blocker in it. And you're like, this is the mobile web? What?
Yeah. Like for the layman or for like the majority of consumers who don't like think about and decide to like weed out all of those extras. If you're just using it as given, that is the mobile web, right?
It is.
You're just like, great, I'm a consumer, and even if you ad block, you can't ad block. You think about Twitter where they'll like add things within your feed. I mean, you can't ad block that, and you can start to tell
Even in
Twitter
my
what you want.
CSS Tricks days, we had sponsored content, and the way the ad blockers work is that there's a URL that's just blocked. It's a middleman. When that request goes through to that URL, it's just blocked. There are no URLs to block. In a way. I'll caveat that and say some ad blockers have like CSS selectors they're looking for that just display none them and stuff, but that's a little bit more rare.
But again, that's the cat and mouse game though too.
Yeah.
You're playing in that, like the people who work on ad blocker plugins.
Just
and
change your
apps or
selector,
whatever
and then it's not
and
blocked
they're
anymore.
and then it's not blocked for a while.
And I would.
I
I will admit that I have played that game before. Rather than because it's very tempting when you're writing HTML and CSS to say like it's a ad block. Or I mean, I said ad block. That's confusing,
Ad
but I meant
section
block,
or
ad
something.
card.
your div is ad space.
And
or
there's
whatever.
actually a pretty good chance that that's going to be blocked just because of the word AD in it. I mean, I can't remember the exact specifics, but I remember renaming something that wasn't an ad. Like I called it an ad. Narcissal or why can't I think of a word with
I
ad
studied
in it?
adnacissals for my PhD, so I know what you mean.
It was just a word that had AD in it. It wasn't ad, and it was blocked. And I was like, why? Oh,
Because it has ad.
AD, just AD, which is that's overreaching.
The last 2,000 years wiped away.
Oh, that took me a minute to
Yeah,
realize
that's
what
what.
you're doing.
But have another.
Okay.
Yeah, it's true. You got to finish this chicken cocktail.
Yeah, we do.
Hope you enjoyed that. We'll be releasing more videos moving forward with those episodes, and look for those coming in the next few weeks and months.
Yeah, we hope to have full video for every episode coming to both Spotify video podcasts and YouTube. Our YouTube is youtube.com/@whiskey, web, and whatnot.
Chicken cock.